Welcome to Angel Impact, the official podcast of the Wisconsin River Business Angels. Episode 32, Cultivating Wisconsin's Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, Part 2, with Tom Still of the Wisconsin Technology Council.
Very much so. Well, let me harken back to some of the things that were just said, and then I want to talk more about those investment statistics. We see our role as being exactly what you said, Jay. It's kind of a continuum of, we see great ideas coming off the various campuses, public and private. We see young companies starting. We see them taking part in processes like our Governor's Business Plan Contest, our Wisconsin Entrepreneurs Conference, our early stage symposium, which is often a little later down the pike, and then the Tech Summit, which is when big companies get to meet little companies and they try to pair up. So we don't run a fund, which I often say makes us like Switzerland. We want to provide that pipeline to great investors like Central Wisconsin Angels and Midwest Wealth, because they're the folks who have the money. They're the ones who know how to invest and to bring those companies along. And it's, hearkening back to what Jeff was saying. Yeah, there are probably some public perceptions that, venture capital is all about just greed or whatever else. I don't think I rarely have met a venture capitalist or an angel investor who wasn't first and foremost kind of a mentor. Sure, they want to make money. That's great, and that's part of it because that's going to move everything along. But what it means is that they are part of the deal. They are trying to push that along. They want success for everybody, including themselves. Most recently, 2021, Wisconsin recorded $852 million in angel and venture deals. Some crowdfunding, but mostly angel and venture. That was up over 400 from 483 the prior year, and up over the year before that, which was 454 million. That progression has been going on for at least the last 5 years. And what that says is that Wisconsin is more attention. Included in that are great in-state funds and networks, but also out-of-state investors. We saw 90 different out-of-state investments in 42 different companies in Wisconsin last year. That's an all-time record. I think it's because we have so many good things going on in Wisconsin, and costs elsewhere are so much higher and deal valuations are so much higher that those investors from elsewhere are coming in here. And what happens is, I think most often they're going to deal with people who are already on the ground, who know what's going on in Wisconsin. So good progress. We got a lot more to do. We're still behind Minnesota. We're of course behind Illinois, but that's a very big state. But we're, trying to get back on a par with the Indianas and Missouris and some of the other states in the Midwest that are also on the rise. So that's good when the entire region is performing well.
Yeah. So, and it sounds like without the work that the Wisconsin Tech Council is doing, Wisconsin just wouldn't be anywhere close to the level that it is, or along that track of progress. Without a leader like that.
I don't want to take too much credit because
I'll toot your horn. I'll toot your horn for you. Yeah, well, absolutely. The Wisconsin Tech Council has had a big hand in it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
From my perspective and for what I've seen. Tom, thank you.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And, we have this great board of directors, as I mentioned, truly statewide, people with a lot of, hands on different parts of the elephant, so there's this understanding on the research side, the investing side and beyond. And there's a great just infrastructure in Wisconsin now that wasn't here a long time ago. When we got started, boy, there were very few investors in the early stage game. There were very few resources for entrepreneurs. It was kind of Wild West, but I think over time it's gotten so much better and will continue to get better. So that's good. I mean, in a way, the more company we have, great people and great organizations working on all this, the better.
Yeah. And it's interesting as I've gotten to know the WRBA more and more. It's sort of like there's two ways of thinking about it. One is as an angel investing group, and it's like that's there to to serve the investors, to help them find high yield opportunities, to give them opportunities to mentor, what you were saying about
Yes.
investors. I don't remember which one, like who was saying it, but it's like angel investors all feel like mentors. I've certainly seen that to be true. They don't just like to contribute their capital, they like to contribute their expertise, and they really get excited about the companies that they're helping to grow. But the WRBA works on that level, but then you have this parent organization called Midwest Wealth Ventures, and that's
Right.
really about this big vision of growing and cultivating the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Wisconsin. And that touches on so many things. It touches on research and development, it touches on resources for entrepreneurs, and it touches on policy, and touches on the research that happens in academia. And I feel like it's sort of a microcosm for this big confluence of of all those factors that you guys deal with. And I just know the WTC is responsible for a large part of that vision. So
Yeah, if I had to pick one thing where I could truly identify an area where we have made a difference, and it's over time with the buildup of Wisconsin's investor tax credits.
mhm.
Going back to the early 2000s, we were a big part of getting those passed originally. We've made sure that that has been amended over time, and that the legislature continues to fund it. And so that gets back to our policy role and why we want to be in touch with those policymakers all the time, because they have turnover too. They're like any other job. Not the legislator who was there 5 years ago may not be there now.
Yeah.
And so it's a constant re-education side. So that's been one of the things that I think, and I point to our work as being very proud of.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we have to wrap up soon. So, Tom, I've one more question for you, but I want to throw it out to Jeff, Leon, and Jay first. Is there anything you'd bring up about your work with the WTC or your relationship with Tom that you feel like is worth noting before we close today? Anything else?
I'll
I
start out.
Yeah.
But no, again, the exposure, the networking has been phenomenal. I've always been a big fan of networking, and there isn't a better organization for this type of networking in the state.
Yeah.
and I would see it as the transmission of best practices from the state to the local communities and from the local communities back to the state.
And I would just say, the Tech Council has become a very well-known entity that's out there to assist in the development and procurement of new ideas and establish growth. So they've really done a great job in terms of developing a very positive reputation in the state.
This is the leadership team singing your praises, Tom, and the
Well,
praises of the Tech Council.
I'm most thankful because, at the end of the day, it's groups like RBA and Midwest Wealth Ventures that are making it happen. They're on the ground. They are invested in their communities. And it's really part of a process about, and it's why I'm so proud of Wisconsin and so bullish on it. I think there's so many great things that have happened here and will continue to happen here in this state, because there are more and more people who are understanding how to get everything linked together.
Yeah. And one other thing I wanted to throw in there, to go back to talking about Pyron and Nurse Disrupted.
Yes.
Nurse Disrupted, right? Is what it's
Yeah.
called. I remember when we were talking to Brad Bodden on this podcast, there were stories about how the WRBA and WIP, Wisconsin Investment Partners, which is the group that that Brad is involved with, like they influenced each other and collaborated with each other on both of those investments. And I know they're both involved in Wisconsin Tech Council, and at the banquet last night, Brad was there, and then of course everyone here was there. So it's such a collaborative endeavor, that that everyone is involved in here. And there's wins on too many levels to count. That I
Yeah,
see,
in some states, investors perhaps aren't that collaborative, but more and more, I think they're learning collaboration. But here, it is part of the practice. I mean, when investors can syndicate and go invest, that co-investment is what gets companies over the finish line. It's what gets those investors over the finish line.
Yeah.
So that kind of collaboration is needed and really necessary for the whole ecosystem.
Yeah. And we have the WTC to thank for giving it a real cohesion. It sounds like. So, one more question for you, Tom. What are you most excited about in the coming year or so in Wisconsin's entrepreneurial ecosystem? It's a huge question, but
yeah,
you're eager to hear your answer.
Yeah, sure. I'm excited by the continued progress has been made in the investment world, the early stage investment world. I have no idea whether 2021 is going to be as strong as 2022, but so far things are looking pretty strong because we're seeing deals that are maturing. I'm excited by the fact that public policymakers who we deal with, both in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. I'm going to Washington, D.C. very soon for a meeting of tech councils all over the country. I think that there's more cohesion there and more common interest. And finally, I'm excited, although there are issues here, but about attracting more talent to Wisconsin. I think there can be folks from other states who now are taking a look at us. I think there are folks who maybe grew up here or went to college here who maybe want to be back. And so as we create more opportunities, we attract more people. So that's a longer term piece, but I am excited about it.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Well, lots of great things happening, and couldn't have a better spokesperson than Tom Still from the Wisconsin Tech Council. So, Tom, thanks so much for joining us today on this episode of Angel Impact. Thanks so much for your keynote last night, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you about all the great work the Wisconsin Technology Council does, and what an important partner it is for groups like the WRBA and other investment groups in the state. So,
well, thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Jeff, Jay, and Leon for all your great work.
Thanks,
all right.
Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was great talking with everyone today. And again, my name is Aaron Marks, and this has been the Angel Impact Podcast. The Angel Impact Podcast is the official podcast of the Wisconsin River Business Angels, and Wisconsin River Business Angels is the only, or Central Wisconsin's only angel investment group. I've been here with Jeff, Leon, and Jay of the Wisconsin River Business Angels, and Tom Still, the Wisconsin Technology Council. We'll see you on the next episode of Angel Impact. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Angel Impact, the official podcast of the Wisconsin River Business Angels. To learn more about the Wisconsin River Business Angels, visit the website at www.midwestwealthventures.com or find us on Facebook.